The Texas Rangers just won their first World Series ever, but today I'm completely destroying their team, trading everyone I possibly could, and making them the worst team in baseball. This might be the saddest lineup I've ever seen, and the pitching rotation is definitely just as bad. It's opening day and I don't know what to expect, but I am swinging on my first pitch of the game, and that's a pretty good start. Riley Greene was probably our biggest acquisition, and they just gave me another fastball right down the middle as we're actually going to score a run on opening day to make it 1-0. Zach Wheeler has only thrown 5 pitches so far, and oh my goodness, that is a no-doubter, but it looks like it's going foul. It would be absolutely hilarious if we beat the Phillies in our first ever game, and this one's popped up, but that's really all we need to score another run. Our ace is literally an auto-generated player, but apparently that doesn't matter as that was a completely nasty slider, but we have to get out of this inning with 2 base runners on, and it looks like that's not going to happen as Nick Castellanos is going to score their first run of the game. We still have a big lead, so I'm not panicking, but we need some more runs as Tommy Clark picks up his 3rd hit of the game. Nearly all the players on this team were free agents generated at the start of the franchise, and for some reason these guys always show out as another one of them just hit a home run to make it 7-1. Just a day after trading their entire team, Texas is embarrassing Philadelphia. I don't think Snow can hold this up forever though. It looks like he's getting a little bit tired as this is a double. We're in a lot of trouble in the 7th inning with the bases loaded, and we really need one of our real life players, Domingo Acevedo, to deliver, but this blooper into right field is going to score 2 runs. Our bullpen is horrible, so we need to score some more runs, but I was just a little bit late on this one, and despite everything, we surprisingly win our first game of the entire video, upsetting Philadelphia, and with how bad our team is, we'll definitely take it. We definitely rode a hot start in that first game, but it was only a matter of time before the losses started coming our way, as we were the worst team in our division at 6-9. We haven't won a series since that first one against the Phillies, and we have a chance to take one against the Kansas City Royals, but our closer's having a tough time ending this one with the tying run at 3rd. Down to their last out, they just need a single to tie this game, but that's a very clutch play at second base to throw him out and secure us another win. I think this game against the A's is going to show us how bad we truly are as we're trailing 6-3 in the 8th, and we're going the other way with this one to get a man on board. We need to start a rally, and this one's going back to the pitcher, and I don't know if he's going to be able to recover in time as he turns around, grabs the ball, and manages to put us out. I had some hope for this team at the beginning of the year, but we just got swept by Oakland, and it's very clear we have a lot of work to do. Our pitching managed to keep this one close against the Angels, and we just need 1 run to tie it. We're down to our last out, but it looks like this one's going to get through for a single, and we need the bottom of our lineup to rally, which is actually going to happen as this blooper is going to drop into center field and tie this game. Paul Skeens is one of the prospects we acquired, and he's trying to send this one to extra innings, but Shohei Ohtani had other ideas, hitting a walk-off homer off of the rookie. That's a very fitting but depressing way to end this game. I've completely given up on us being good, but I have decided to go out and get Hunter Greene. While we're at it, I'm just going to go ahead and grab a new first baseman. Our drafts are going to be really important in this rebuild, and we managed to get a generational talent at number 4 and nobody under 86 potential, which is absolutely awesome. Greene and our other trade deadline moves definitely make us better long term. Both of these offenses are absolutely terrible, but it looks like we're finally getting something going on this opposite field hit, and I think it's going to send Kyle Teal all the way around from first base as he comes around and he's just barely in time. This game could easily come down to 1 run, but we're going to keep pouring it on as Aaron Garcia really got a hold of this one to the gap. There's 2 outs though, and thankfully we're able to draw a walk, and it's up to Williams, who's going to hit this one down the first base line where it stays fair and pick up the weakest RBI double I've ever seen. However, this one's not over yet, and Green's going to give up his first run of the game, and with only a 1-run lead, Green's going to completely miss his spot and give up the tying run. It's tough to win when our bullpen gives up 2 runs in 2 innings, and right now we can't get a single hit through the infield. This loss to the Oakland A's is the perfect way to wrap up a terrible season as we're going into our first off season with a ton of money. It's not a great free agent class, but I am going to grab some pitchers, Ahmed Rosario, and some bench bats, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up Brendan Donovan because I seem to get him in every video. On paper, we're definitely much better entering year 2 as we're the 21st ranked team in baseball, as Riley Greene's going to start us off strong going the other way, and this is going to be a double. I signed Jock Peterson because he has 98 clutch, but he's going to pop up and miss the chance to score Greene. However, we signed Aaron Nola to be our new ace, and he's not disappointing as it's still scoreless and we have another runner on. I traded for Brendan Donovan for a good reason as he's able to draw a walk, and I signed Charlie Blackmon just before this game, and he's able to load the bases. We have to avoid hitting into the double play here, and Lopez just got me with the changeup. Riley Greene had a leadoff double, and it's all up to him, but he made soft contact, and we left the bases loaded. Aaron Nola is able to get out of this one, but it still feels like we can't make any solid contact. It's only a matter of time before Nola gives up a run, and that's the worst timing ever. This game would be a lot closer if we scored with the bases loaded, as this will be another frustrating out, but the first baseman actually drops the ball, so we're gonna get lucky on down an error. Pablo's having a hard time throwing strikes, and I'm not falling for that circle change again. There's 2 outs once again, and we're once again gonna leave runners on base, and somehow our team looks even worse than it did last year. But for some reason, they still haven't taken Pablo out of the game, as Jock Peterson's gonna drive this one deep to left field and make them pay for our first home run of the entire season. Maybe that's the spark we needed, as with 2 outs, Brendan Donovan's gonna drive this one back the other way for a single, but it looks like he's not gonna stop going, digging for second base, and that one's not even gonna be close. We really shot ourselves in the foot in this loss, as this game's tied in the bottom of the 9th, and we have a walk-off chance that might actually happen, as this one's going deep to right field, but just does not have enough power. We're down to our last strike before this goes to extras, and I get caught looking at strike 3. We need our bullpen to not give up a run, and they didn't, so we have another walk-off chance, and I'm hitting this one right back to the pitcher, and that's an easy base. All we need is a sacrifice fly to win this one, and Charlie Blackmon's jumping up and down, but I think he's getting excited for nothing because that's not going to be deep enough. It all comes down to Ahmed Rosario, and that's a good pitch to hit, except he makes terrible contact, and we're going to the 11th. We're lucky to still be in this one as our bullpen holds, and the game is begging for us to walk this off, but Riley Green can't deliver. This game's going to take years off my life as they finally score a run, and we're going to need to score a run off of Johan Duran if we want to stay in this game. But Jim Wayne had some other ideas, as he's going to drive this no-doubter deep into right field to walk it off in inning number 12. That's the first signature win of this entire video, so drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more. In a month in, we're actually in second place with a 500 record. It would be a huge setback to lose to the A's as we grounded out, and this was not a good day for Hunter Green as he allowed 2 more runs, but Ahmed Rosario somehow got aboard with a single. We're still struggling to score runs as Riley Green definitely didn't get enough of this one, and it's going to be another scoreless inning. I want to think this team can make the playoffs, but our bats are definitely cooling off as we finally have another hit in the 7th inning, and this one's going to go for extra bases. This may be our only chance to start a rally for the rest of the game, and Brendan Donovan actually made good contact with this one, as this one's flying deep to right field, and the outfielder is going to need to make a play off the wall as we finally score a run. I really hope this can start a rally, as Ahmed Rosario's finally facing a lefty, and all he needs is a sacrifice fly to score. It finally feels like our offense is waking up, and that's going to continue as Kyle Teal turns on this one, as this one has some carry, and this line drive is going to leave the yard to make it 4-3. 3 runs definitely put us back in this game as Green picks up a strikeout, and we have a chance to tie it as that was an absolute meatball, and facing a full count again, it looks like we draw a walk. He keeps leaving these curveballs in a zone, and there's another one which we're going to hit lightly up the middle as Jim Wayne collects the game-tying RBI. Oakland is deep in their bullpen with the bases loaded, and they just keep missing their spots as that's an RBI walk. We just took our first lead of the game, and since there's only 1 out, all we need is a sacrifice fly, which Teal's going to deliver to score a run and make this one 6-4 as we pick up a huge comeback win against the Oakland A's. We're definitely getting better at 23-21, but the Reds have Shohei Ohtani, and they have a chance to walk it off, and we can't escape Ohtani even though he's not in our division anymore. We have a chance for a walk-off against our division rivals, the Houston Astros, and it's that time of the video where I show everyone why I always trade for Brendan Donovan, and that's going to allow us to get the walk-off win as we're 31-25 and are fighting for the AL West. We're down 1 against the Rays, and this is the type of team that we have to beat to get to the next level as Blackmon loads the bases with a single, and that brings up the clutchest player on the team in Jock Peterson, as that would have been a grand slam had I been on time. Hopefully I can redeem myself as there's a soft hit to the opposite field, and while it's not going to be a grand slam, it's going to bring in the tying run and also another run as we're going to take our first lead of the entire game. They've completely blown this save chance, and that pitch had no business being up in the zone as we're going to drive that every single time to score our 3rd run of the inning, and there's another big time comeback win. This rebuild is definitely way ahead of schedule as our offseason acquisitions and our young talent are stepping up, and we're in first place in our division. We're going to have to pull off another close one against Seattle as we're going to enter the 9th inning tied, and I know we can't rely on winning these types of games forever, but they're definitely fun to play as Justin Topa's missing his spots, and we're going to get another aboard with a walk. We have to be very careful not to hit into a double play here, but that looks like exactly what's going to happen as we hit this one right back to the pitcher. I want to take Barlow out, but our entire bullpen is gassed, but it looks like he's going to get out of this one with a double play as that was a beautiful flip to second, but we can't get it to first in time, and that means we're facing Julio Rodriguez, and we're able to strike him out on the slider. That was way too close for comfort as we're going to extra innings, and JP Crawford just made an amazing play. We can get this one to the 11th with just 1 more out, but Teo won't stop fouling off pitches. I need to throw another slider at him, and he finally swings and misses. We need to score a run quick because I'm running out of bullpen options, and Jock Peterson sends this one the other way, and I'm really hoping it drops, but it's just not going to. Now we have just 1 out to keep this game going, and I'm late on this one again, but it does not matter because it's Brendan Donovan as this one gets gets down, and we've finally taken the lead. We're basically out of bullpen options, so we need to finish this one quick, and Suarez is gonna bloop this one into right field as our defender gets a terrible reaction, and he's gonna miss the dive, which is gonna score a run and probably send Suarez all the way to third base. That was an absolute nightmare, and now the Mariners only need a sac fly to win as Acevedo completely misses his spot, and that's definitely gonna be deep enough to score Suarez from third base as our defensive liabilities ultimately cost us this game and the division. I was a bit surprised that Ahmed Rosario was our only all-star this year, and with the trade deadline here, I think we're really lacking a good closer, so I'm gonna get Cano from the Orioles and also get an upgrade at catcher in Diaz. Our future's looking better and better every single day after another great draft class, but we still have to worry about the rest of this season as we're currently in 6th place for the American League wildcard. We're tied up with Boston in the 8th, and it looks like we're getting intentionally walked, so the bases are loaded. And this is a great test for our new catcher as he can absolutely rake against righties, and he's gonna do exactly that as this one gets past the third baseman, and we're gonna score 2 runs off of this. With only 1 out, the party's definitely not over as Charlie Blackmon gets a great pitch to hit. That's gonna score another run. We scored 3 runs in 2 at-bats, and we're able to strike out Corey Seager, and we rally for another win. The Astros and the Mariners have taken control of the division, so we really need to win this series against Houston as Diaz walks against his former team, and we have a chance to walk this game off as Wayne's gonna get a hold of this one, but I think it's gonna go right at the center fielder. I've lost count of how many extra inning games we've been in this season, but it looks like 37-year-old Charlie Blackmon wants to put an end to this one as he hits a rocket into the right center gap, and there's no way that's not gonna score a run as we take a big time win, but we're back down to 500 as this month has really not been going our way, and we're in a position where we have to rally against the Oakland A's, which Riley Green is thankfully gonna get done tying the game. And just like everyone expected, we're back in extra innings where we're gonna catch a huge break where we just need a run to win it, and I think this is gonna get it done as Roland's hit is definitely gonna drop, and it feels like all of our wins come down to the wire. We're entering September with 69 wins, but we're still 6 games out of a wild card spot. We have a chance to win this series against the division leading Mariners, and we definitely need it as Jock Peterson's gonna drive this one deep to right field, and we get on the board very early. Trading for Diaz was definitely one of the best things we did this season, and he's gonna get aboard with another hit here, and Brendan Donovan's back up, and he's gonna get our 3rd hit in a row. Wayne has a chance to make it 4, and he's gonna slap this one back the other way. Our bats are definitely hot and cold as this sacrifice fly is gonna score our 2nd run of the game, and continuing this type of production is the only chance we have of making the playoffs this year as Green gets aboard with another single as the runner's rounding 3rd heading for home, and this one's not even gonna be close. It sucks to leave guys on base, but it looks like we're trying to start another rally as we get another single, which brings up Jock Peterson, who makes soft contact, but it doesn't matter as that one's gonna sneak through to get the bases loaded. We have 3 outs to clear the bases and score some more runs, and Diaz is gonna do exactly that, driving the single up the middle, and we get 4 runs on the board, but it's definitely too early to count out the Mariners as JP Crawford is gonna bloop this one into left and score 2 more runs. It only took Seattle 1 inning to erase our lead, but Riley Green makes good contact into left field, sending this one all the way back to the wall for an easy double. Our lack of home run power is definitely our biggest weakness, but at least we're making consistent contact as Riley Green's gonna score from second. Diaz is already 2 for 2 on the game with a chance to drive in another run, and he's gonna do exactly that, hitting this one weakly into the outfield. And I know signings like Charlie Blackmon aren't super flashy, but he's actually had a great season for us, and overall I think he's a great bridge player to produce for us while our young talent keeps improving. Seattle leads the division, but we've completely overwhelmed their pitching today as Jock Peterson's gonna pick up another RBI or 2, and they're already on their 3rd pitcher and might need a 4th as this is another RBI to make it 10-4. Seattle never stood a chance against our offensive breakthrough, and honestly this offensive production, including Riley Green becoming a really good player for us, has been more than enough, and I really feel like our young starting pitchers are holding us back. But I think we're on the right track, and these free agent signings are gonna help us even more. And I'm also gonna make this trade for Blake Sabold, not because we need another catcher, but because he can play corner outfield where we need another clutch bat against righties. I absolutely believe this is gonna be a playoff roster. As the game thinks we're the 8th best team in baseball, we have our first chance to prove we're a playoff team in opening day against the Astros as Riley Green gets this one started with a double. However, John Means' Rangers career is not off to a great start, and we have 2 on with Donovan up, and he gets a perfect hit into left field as Manuel Margot is gonna try to test this one, and our auto base running decisions have really screwed us over today. This one's no different as he's thrown out. I can't believe we didn't score any runs in that inning, but Means settled back in, and Ahmed Rosario's getting aboard with the single. I love Anthony Santander's bat in this game, and he's gonna have his first hit as a Ranger, and all I can hope is we don't blow another scoring chance as Riley Green hits into a double play. This game is just another example of our bats stalling at the wrong time, as we actually have more hits than the Astros, but just keep stranding our guys on base, as we're gonna have another chance to score runners, and I'm a little bit late on this pitch, but it goes over the first baseman's head, and we'll load the bases. Santander has a chance to completely break this game open, and that was really a pitch to hit that I was early on. We're gonna make it a 3-2 count, and we're on the board with an RBI walk. We still have loaded bases and 1 out with Bailey up to the plate, and he's really gonna get a hold of this one, driving it deep to left field, and that's the exact answer we need, as it's a grand slam. We've taken the lead with a 5-run inning, but Houston got 2 hits, and they're gonna tie this game right back up. This game has been a back and forth shootout, and Jim Wayne wants to keep that going, as this line drive 110 miles an hour is leaving the yard. Pitching does not exist in this game, as there's another 2-run home run, and unfortunately our pitching staff cost us this game. We're in danger of another mediocre start to the season, as we're trailing 1 run against the Mets, and Green can't get this one to drop. This game could end on a double play, but thankfully Santander's able to walk. This is actually a great chance for Blake Sabol to show us what he can do, but it looks like he's going to ground into a double play, except the shortstop misses the flip to second base, and that's going to allow the tying run to come in to score. This game should be over, but we're actually in position to walk this one off, but Brendan Donovan's not going to be able to get it done, except the second baseman, what is he doing? He stops, and we win the game. Those 2 plays completely cost the Mets the game, but we're able to pick up the W. We're barely above 500 going into another series against the Astros, and we're once again in an extra innings game, but it looks like we're going to score on this double, which bounces over the fence. We have a chance to walk it off and get our redemption against Houston, and Ahmed Rosario slaps this one up the middle, as we have to score a runner all the way from second base as we secure a huge comeback win. Sweeping the Astros helped us take the division lead, but we're going to lose this series to the Brewers if we can't overcome a 3-run deficit, as Rosario singles, and we still have 2 outs to get runs on the board, as that one's going to go right at the shortstop, and unfortunately we're going to need a big 9th inning. This is going to be tough because Woody's been dealing, but that's not going to stop Diaz from delivering a huge no-doubt blast. Trading for this guy keeps proving to be a great move, but that means we have to deal with Devin Williams, and he's going to slam the door on this comeback attempt, as we still haven't proven we're consistently good enough to make a playoff run. A sweep against the second place Mariners would really help us extend our division lead, and we're trailing 1-0 early, but Blake Sabol's going to be able to turn this into extra bases, and he was able to turn that into a triple, as George Kirby's leaving pitches right over the heart of the plate, and we're going to take advantage to get on the board and tie this game. This is another good start for our offense, and George Kirby's throwing at our hitters, as we're able to get to a board for Brendan Donovan, who makes soft contact with the blooper that I think is going to get down and allow us to take this lead. What an answer, as we've already scored 2 runs in the first inning, and I think this soft chopper is going to get through from Wayne to load the bases, but he's going to round third and head home, and this throw is offline as we secure our 3rd run of the inning. We have a chance to do more damage in the 2nd inning, and we're picking up right where we left off, as that single gets 1 aboard, and we're going right back to the same spot for back-to-back hits. Kirby's really off his game so far, and that's a rare walk from him to load the bases, and while it makes sense he's pitching around us, he can't hide from us forever, as Anthony Santander's blasting this one to the left center gap, and that one's going to clear the bases for a 3-run double, as our bats are absolutely on fire. They're already pulling George Kirby, but I really don't think it's going to matter, as we're already going back to business with the Brendan Donovan single, which is going to score a run all the way from second base, and Seattle just never had a chance in this one. That was a big time sweep, as we're definitely on a hot streak, as we have a massive division lead. The Angels are in 2nd place in the division, and we can bury them even further if we complete this sweep, as Tommy Clark's looking to help his team walk this one off, hitting this double the other way. We've got Patrick Bailey up, who absolutely mashes lefties, and right on cue he's going to send this one deep into left field, and we're going to extra innings. The Angels took the lead on a sacrifice fly, but Ahmed Rosario is going to work with an opposite field single, but our ghost runner only has 36 speed, and I don't know if he's going to be able to make it, and the throw is not in time. We stayed alive in the 11th inning, but the Angels offense was not done producing, and we need to score 2 runs if we want to stay in this game, as this ball's hit well, but I don't think it's going to get down, and we're not able to pull off another comeback. You can't win them all, but I'm still excited about this team's future, especially when we walk off games like this, as Jim Wayne drove this one deep into right field, and we bounced right back with a signature win. I'm kind of confused if John Means made the All-Star game, even though he was a top 4 pitcher in voting. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Same thing with Sean Moreno making it over Dylan Tate, but Cano for sure made the game, as Diaz and Sabol are the top 2 catchers. Jim Wayne's in the voting for 3rd, and then Anthony Santander leads left fielders. We're 60-31 at the break, and while the offense should obviously be credited for some of our success, the huge turnaround of our pitching staff, particularly our starters, is a huge reason why we're even in this position to begin with. I usually make a move at the trade deadline, but I think it's finally time to call up our generational second baseman, because he's absolutely raking in the minors. Also, none of these guys are probably going to play, but picking up a 98 potential catcher in the 6th round is actually pretty funny. I'm really not worried about anybody catching up to us in the division, as we didn't have the best month, and we're still 15 games up in the division, so I think we have this in the bag, as we made the playoffs with 106 wins, which is no surprise as Anthony Santander won MVP, and Lucas Giolito also took home the Cy Young. We finally made the playoffs, and we're taking on the Orioles in the ALDS, and this is a very young, talented team just like us, as Blake Sabol's going to drive drive this one the other way for a double, and taking a lead in game 1 would be huge for our momentum, as we're going to collect our 3rd straight hit, and this one's going to score the first 2 runs of the game. Our pitching was awesome this season, and bought us some time for our offense to fall into a slump, as we're finally aboard with another single. But while Anthony Santander was good enough to win MVP this year, he's not able to start a rally. We need to hold for one more inning, but gave up a 2-run home run, and then another solo home run at the end of the inning. We haven't scored a run since the 1st inning, and we need to get something going with time running out in the 8th inning, as Santander finally got a hit against his former team. However, there's still 2 outs and a 3-run deficit to overcome, but Diaz wants to at least make this interesting, as this opposite field blooper is going to drop and score another run. We have to go through one of the best closers in the entire game to win this one, but Wayne's going to make this interesting with a no-doubt shot to opposite field, as this is suddenly only a 1-run game. However, Bautista's not going to make it that easy the rest of the way, as Green makes soft contact, and the second baseman's able to get to it in time to help the Orioles take game 1. We really need to bounce back in game 2, and there's a really nice drive to right center field, as that's a 2-out double in the 1st. We really need our offense to wake up in this game, and this one's going to the opposite field from Santander, and I think that's actually going to carry back to the wall, where it's going to one-hop into the seats. John Means is doing a good job against his former team, as he keeps giving our offense chances, and there's a deep crack to left field from Diaz, and that one's going to have plenty of carry going all the way back to the wall, where Mullins is going to try to make a play on it, but we have a 2-0 lead. You never know when Baltimore's offense is going to break through John Means, as there's a really good play at third base to knock it down, but I don't think there's going to be a throw. We've gotten runners on in just about every inning of this game, and while we've made good contact, more often than not, it's gone right to the defender, which has led to a lot of missed opportunities as they finally break through Means. And this is only a 1-run game, even if it really doesn't feel like it, as we're going to try to answer with this double into the left center gap. They turned to their bullpen, and it was really smart to bring in a lefty, but that's not going to matter, as this soft grounder from Donovan's going to get through to score a run. We need to be keeping an eye on John Means' stamina, but I feel okay with him going another inning, especially if our offense can keep scoring runs as we get on board, and that was the right call as we hold on to take game 2 and even the series. We need to win game 3, and Riley Green gets us started with the leadoff single, and we need to keep our offensive momentum going, as that's exactly what we're going to do, as Sabol hits this no-doubt shot to right field to take an early 2-0 lead. This is the type of offensive breakthrough I expected, and it really helps that our starting pitching keeps us in this game, as Green hits a soft grounder at the second baseman, and I think he'll be able to beat out the throw, which goes over the first baseman's head and out of play. Blake Sabol went deep his last time up, and while he makes good contact with this one, it's going to fly right over to Cedric Mullins, as we miss an opportunity, but Nola's still hanging in there. We've been stalling after scoring early runs all game, and how about Blake Sabol going back to the right side of the field? And while I don't think this one's going to leave the yard, it is going to turn into extra bases, as Baltimore finally pulled John Gray, and we're going to take advantage of their bullpen, blasting this one into the right center gap to extend our lead to 3 runs. Nola gave up 2 runs in the 7th inning, and things are looking really scary, and with 2 strikes and the bases loaded, we go with the fastball inside and thankfully get out of this one. I'm begging our bullpen to not collapse, and I would love to extend our 9th inning lead, as Diaz smokes this one right at the second baseman, and now we're relying on our closer against his former team, and he gives up an instant single to Gunnar Henderson. The winning run is at the plate, as Cano's going to give up another single, and we're going to go to extra innings if we can't turn a double play on this sacrifice bunt, as this one's going to be close, but the throw to first is not in time. Cano missed a save chance against his former team, as our offense can't get going in the 10th, as we put Hunter Green in the game, and he sends us to the 11th, and this would be the worst time in the world for our bats to go cold, as this is going to be a deep pop-up deep to right field, except the right fielder stops, looks up at the wall, and Sabol has his 2nd home run of the game to put us out in front. It's his 2nd home run of the day and the clutchest play possible, especially since we're not going to be able to score another run in this inning, as Green still has plenty of stamina to close this one out, and we lost. That's ridiculously heartbreaking. We could be facing elimination, but our bats really came alive in this one. We're in a winner-takes-all game 5, but Grayson Rodriguez makes me feel like I'm playing this game on super speed. Thankfully, Rule 5 pickup Tyler Alexander's holding his own, which gives me more time to figure out how to hit this guy, as Riley Green gets his 2nd hit of the game, but it really doesn't matter since our team can't score him and keep leaving him on base, as we're still scoreless through 3. This guy was a former top prospect for a reason, as Santander makes soft contact the other way, but thankfully the outfield shift is gonna allow this one to get down for a double. We finally have a runner in scoring position, as Donovan's gonna pull this pitch deep into right field, watching it carry all the way back near the warning track, and it's caught. This is disappointing, as Alexander's gonna allow the first run of the game, and we're playing from behind in a winner-takes-all game 5, but not for long, as our generational rookie comes through with a no-doubt blast to tie it up. That's the biggest play of his entire career so far, and the 19-year-old has Hall of Fame potential. We still have a chance to rally, as Green collects his 3rd single of the game, and Blake Sabol came up huge in game 3 and dribbles another one back to get 2 aboard. Seanwell has a chance to score another run and lines this one right to second base. Neither side is giving an inch in the 7th inning, as their bullpen is finally in the game, game, and we hit this one right to third base, but I don't think there's going to be a play, and this may be our best chance to score in the entire game as Donovan delivers a 2-out laser up the middle that will definitely score the leading run. Cano did not look good in his last save attempt, so I'm leaving Tate in with everything on the line, and he just needs 1 out, but he's going to walk Gunnar Henderson. This brings up Ramon Arias, who's down to his last strike, and we have a chance to get out of here alive, and I'm holding my breath for this one as the pitch comes in and it's a soft grounder to second base as we survive the first round of the playoffs and advance to the ALCS. We're taking on a really good Guardians team in the ALCS, and they made an early statement taking game 1, but our bats came alive in game 2 to help us strike right back. The winner of game 3 will take the series lead, but we're already down 3-0 in the second as Donovan gets aboard, but we look at strike 3 on a really good pitch to the corner. I feel like every time we make contact, it goes straight into the glove of an infielder, which definitely isn't going to make it easy to come back in this one as Cleveland scores another 2 runs, and it feels like this game is already over as there's really good contact into the right center gap as we finally hit a fly ball and it's going to leave the yard. But we're obviously going to need more runs than that as Diaz gets aboard with a walk, and we need Brendan Donovan to deliver with 2 outs, but he makes soft contact to end the inning, and unless the whole team starts a rally, this is going to be a really awful loss for us as Blake always seems to step up in the clutchest moments, delivering another home run. If we can get another man aboard, this might be our best chance to start a rally as this hit's blocked by the second baseman, and I think Wayne's going to be able to outrun it for another base hit. We're in danger of leaving 2 runners on, and the stakes are even higher as the bases get loaded, and we desperately need Riley Green to come up in a big moment as he hits this one deep to right center field, and he's just underneath it as we miss a chance to cut into this lead, and it's going to cost us the game. We're already down 2-0 in game number 4, but Diaz is going to drive this one deep, and that sounded good off the bat as this dinger is going to cut this to a 1-run game. We just have to keep working back into this game as a walk's going to get 1 aboard, and Riley Green's going the other way to put 2 on with 1 out. This gives us a huge chance to tie the game as Blake Sabul's going to pull this one over the first baseman's head to score a run and put runners at the corners as this one's hit pretty well into the outfield, but I don't know if it's deep enough as the runner's going to try to test it from third anyways, and thankfully for us, the throw is just a bit offline. We have the lead, but we definitely want to keep our rally going because not scoring enough has cost us in previous games as Cleveland's going to answer and tie this back up. I really hope this means our offense is woken up as here's a shot from Brendan Donovan deep into the gap, and that's going to be a double, and he later advanced to third, so all we need is a sacrifice fly, and I think this is going to be deep enough to score another run and take the lead. Neither offense has scored since we retook the lead, but Donovan gets aboard with a single, and adding another run here in the 8th would be excellent as there's 2 aboard for Schroer, but he's going to pop up to end the inning. We're once again relying on our bullpen, but they give up a home run, and then a new reliever gives up a 3-run shot, and I can't believe that's how we're going to lose this game. We're going to have to pull off a 3-1 series comeback if we want to make the World Series, and our offense finally produced something with this double to the gap as we have a chance to score the first points of the game, which Anthony Santander is going to do, blasting this no-doubter into the right field seats as we have a 2-run lead and the chance to do more damage as Riley Green's going to put runners at the corners, and missing these types of opportunities to score has definitely cost us a few games in this series as this one's going to be deep enough to score Ahmed Rosario on the sac fly. The Guardians finally scored a run, but we're going to take it right back as Santander blasts his 2nd homer of the game and shows us all why he won AL MVP. Our team stayed alive in this one, and we also managed to win the next game to even the series at 3 apiece, setting up a winner-takes-all Game 7. Winning this game would complete a 3-1 comeback, but Cleveland had a 3-run second inning, and we're once again going to have to rally. We're still in a good spot with 1 out, and this opposite field single is going to load the bases for Anthony Santander, who's able to hit this one deep enough to score a first run of the game. Cleveland scored a run right back, so we're going to need a rally, and I'm finally feeling a bit of offensive momentum as Sean Wells going to hit this over the shortstop's head to put runners at the corners, as Santander has a chance to capitalize yet again, and he's going to crack this one into the right center gap as this one's not going to leave the yard, but it's going to score 1 run as the other runner's coming around. This is going to be a very close play at the plate, and unfortunately for us, the throw's going to be in time. It definitely sucks when our aggressive base running doesn't work out, as this double to the gap from Diaz would have scored the tying run, and we're going to have to rely on more players to keep this rally going as Wayne gets a hold of this one, and I don't think the center fielder is going to be able to make a play on it, which allows the tying run to score and Wayne to get to second. Our offense has been really frustrating to watch this season, but they've definitely come through when it matters, as Brendan Donovan drives this one into the right center gap for a definite double, as Santander is going to try to score all the way from first base, as auto base running screws us over once again. Neither side has given in the 11th inning, and we've been to extra innings way too many times to count, so I'm looking to end it, going deep with Corey Schroer, and the generational rookie has sent us to the World Series, completing a 3-1 series comeback against the Cleveland Guardians. The first 2 series just took me like 7 hours to record, so I'm really looking forward to the World Series. But this World Series isn't going to come easy as we're taking on the Atlanta Braves, and as everyone could probably guess, their team is absolutely loaded. Atlanta leads 1-0, and we're taking on Corbin Burns as we finally managed to get a base hit hit, and this soft grounder is going to score a runner from third to tie the game. It really feels like our bats are starting to gain some momentum as Diaz doubles, as Wayne's up with a chance to get his third hit and score Diaz as we take our first lead of the game. Corey Schroeder was the hero of the ALCS game, and he's going to single up the middle to put 2 on. We finally have the lead in the 7th inning, but we can't get too comfortable as we slap a double into the gap. Our pitching really stepped up today as we close this one out and take game number 1. We're also going to sim game number 2 as we win a close one. We're finally the team with the playoff lead going into game 3. It would be hilarious to sweep the Braves after the struggles we had in the playoffs, but we're starting out strong with a double. This is a huge early opportunity to take the lead, and Anthony Santander's no stranger to clutch plays as he launches this one into left field and he scores the first run of the game. This is a great chance to score another run as Margot drives this one deep to center field, but the center fielder makes a ridiculous play. That's a really tough break as it's only a matter of time before Atlanta's bats wake up, but Jim Wayne's gonna answer, blasting this one over the fence to make it a 2-run game. Tyler Alexander has been phenomenal on the mound as Ahmed Rosario slaps this one up the middle and gets aboard. We can put this game away with one swing, especially with AL MVP Anthony Santander up to the plate, and while he was a little late on this, he has the makeup power to send it over the fence and make this one 4-0, as that hot start proved to be too much for the Braves to come back from, and they're in danger of elimination. We're 1 win away from winning the World Series, and Santander is going to continue to be clutch, driving in a run with one of the deepest singles I've ever seen. Jim Wayne has been awesome this postseason. He's going to drive this one deep to right field, and while it's not going to be a home run, we secure another double. Thankfully, we've got our Cy Young winner on the mound, as he's going to make Ronald Acuna look silly on the slider, and has kept Atlanta's offense scoreless so far as Ahmed Rosario grounds to the shortstop, who makes a great play, but not in time to turn to double play. To score a run as Giolito's locking these guys down, as we're only a few innings away from a World Series sweep and have a chance to do even more damage. Atlanta wanted to make this a little more interesting as they scored a run to cut our lead to just 1, but Blake Sable's gonna pull this one for a double. It would be really nice to score another run as Seanwell hits this one the other way, and I think that's gonna be just enough to score Sable from second base as we extend our lead back to 2 runs. Our pitching has been absolutely dominant throughout the entire World Series as they allowed us to hold on to complete the challenge as I completely destroyed the Texas Rangers and brought them to a World Series win within just 3 seasons. Thank you so much for making it this far in the video. If you enjoyed, please drop a like and subscribe, and click right here to see more content.